but
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, folks, Dave, Greg. I think Joe's coming on now.
How's it going?
Yep. So me.
Hello.
Right.
Yeah, no audio for Joe yet. Looks like he's still connecting. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Dave. Guys.
Here comes Mickey and Chip. That's good.
Chip will be joining in about a minute.
Thank you, Surrogate Chip.
You are very welcome.
And Jim struggling with an older laptop. Oh, there he is. Well, Jim,
Hi.
Mickey, welcome.
Hello. Yes, thank you.
And there's Chip. Awesome.
The real me.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Ready to go? On my writing implement. There we go. Joe, you have the legal notice handy? Yes. You're on mute.
Hi. Oh,
No. Oh, couldn't hear you. Your lips are moving. Okay.
bad connection, I guess.
All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order for the Town of Wakefield Board of Appeals for June 14th, 2023. Start with a roll call of board members. Jim McBain,
Here.
Chip Tarbell,
Here.
Tom Lucy,
Here.
Joe Pride,
Here.
Mickey Feely,
Here.
Greg McIntosh,
Here.
Kasumi Humphreys.
Yeah.
And your chair, Dave Hatfield, present. All right. On to the legal notice. Joe, if you please.
Yes. Consistent with the governor's orders extending certain provisions of the open meeting law, every effort will be made to allow the public to view and or listen to this meeting in real time. If you do not have a camera or microphone or your computer, you may use the following dial-in number: 1-301-715-8592, meeting ID 874-9858-5194, passcode 296599. Please use only dial-in or computer, not both, as audio feedback will distort the meeting. This meeting will be audio and video recorded in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. This location is accessible to people with disabilities. Wakefield provides reasonable accommodations and or language assistance free of charge upon request. If you are a person with a disability and require information or materials in an alternate format, or if you require any other accommodation, please contact the town's disability coordinator, William Renault, town engineer, at 781-246-6308 as far in advance of the event as possible. Every effort will be made to grant your request. Advance notification will enable the town to make reasonable arrangements to remove an accessibility barrier for you. 1, continued hearings. 2, 23-87, 23-88. And I apologize if I get this name wrong. Bethesda Chum and Tasting Boba LLC, application for a special permit under Article 4, Section 190-23 of the Wakefield zoning bylaw for fast food. Application for a special permit under Article 16, Section 190-101F of the Wakefield zoning bylaw relating to signage. The property is shown on as map 12, lot parcel 172A of the assessors map and is located at 8 Albion Street. 3, 23-89, 23-90. Mickles Revocable Trust and Kelly and Gage Silva. Application for a variance under Article 10, Section 190-66, seeking a variance under the requirements of Article 6 and Table 2 of Article 4, Section 190-22A1F of the Wakefield zoning bylaw related to a proposed addition onto a single-family dwelling and the addition of an accessory apartment. Application for a special permit under Article 4, Section 190-22A1F of the Wakefield zoning bylaw, seeking a special permit to add an accessory apartment to a single-family dwelling. The property is shown as map 4, lot parcel 0N3 of the assessors map and is located at 5 Lantern Lane, Board of Appeals.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, so we have several continued matters on our agenda this evening, and we've received requests from the representatives of these hearings, of these applications, to continue the matters to a future hearing. So we'll take those up first, as we always do, in case anyone is here for them specifically. From Attorney Brian McGrail, dated June 13th, 2023, regarding Kingman Block LLC, 369-371 Main Street, case numbers 23-14 through 17, requesting that we continue the matter till June 28th of 2023, and that they're finalizing the town easement issue and draft conditions. They had a recent joint meeting with Bill Renault, the town engineer, and the WMLG GLD in this regard, and we have a final site visit scheduled with Mr. Renault this week. There's already an extension in place to the end of August, so we're covered there for now.
I'll move we continue to June 28th.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Our regular voting members, Tom,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Yes.
and I vote yes. So that hearing will be on our June 28th agenda. From Attorney Brian McGrail, dated June 13th, 2023, regarding New Creek LLC at 10 Broadway, Wakefield, Mass. Case numbers 23-39 through 42, requesting that we continue the matter until our meeting on June 28th, 2023, and they're still in the process of working with board member James McBain to review revised plans and cross sections with the project architect. Again, this we've already got an extension on this to render a decision through August 30th, so we're covered there.
I move that we continue this to June 28th.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Our regular voting members, Chip,
Yes.
Joe,
Yeah.
Tom,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So that too is unanimous, and that will be on our June 28th agenda. From Attorney Brian McGrail, dated June 13, 2023, regarding Granite's Family Trust LLC at 314, 330, and 336 Salem Street, Wakefield, Mass. Case numbers 23-43 through 50, requesting that we continue this matter until our meeting on June 28th, 2023, and that we're still in the process of reviewing drainage with William Renault, the town engineer. We also have an extension on this one to render a decision through August 30th, 2023, so we're covered there.
I move that we continue this to June 28th.
Seconded.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Regular voting members, Chip,
Yes.
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 okay, Tom,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So that matter will also be on our June 20th agenda. From Attorney Brian McGrail, dated June 13, 2023, regarding Dana Rodriguez, 377 Main Street, Wakefield, Mass. Case number 23-51, requesting that we continue the matter to our meeting on June 28th, and they're still in the process of finalizing the sign design.
I move that we continue this to June 28th.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Regular voting members, Chip,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So that too is unanimous. And this matter will also be on our June 28th agenda. From Brian McGrail, June 13th, 2023, regarding Mira LLC and Sky Group Investments LLC at 1 Audubon Road, Wakefield, Mass. Case numbers 23-66 through 68, requesting that we continue the matter to our meeting on June 28th, and that they are still in the process of compiling additional sign information and finalizing matters with the Conservation Commission. And again, we're extended through August 30th on this matter as well.
I move that we continue this to June 28th.
Seconded.
Any discussion on the motion? Regular voting members, Chip,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Tom,
Yep.
and I vote yes. So that too is unanimous and will be on our June 28th agenda. And lastly, from Attorney Brian McGrail, June 13, 2023, A&E Realty Trust at 460-66 and 472 Main Street, Wakefield, case numbers 23-70 through 72, requesting that we continue the matter to our June 28th, 2023 meeting, still in that we have a meeting and site visit this week with William Renault, the town engineer, regarding coordination with Envision Wakefield.
I move that we continue this to June 28th.
Seconded.
Any discussion on that motion? Same voting members, Chip,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that's unanimous and will be on our June 28th agenda. So that leaves us with one continued hearing, the two new hearings you heard in the legal matter, and 3 other matters. So I think, Brian, are they all yours, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can take them in the order. Sometimes we jump and take the other matters first, but you're here regardless, so. Okay, so our first continued hearing, 23-77, 78, and 79, Northeast Warehouse Boston LLC at 3 Melvin Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the board, for the record, Attorney Brian McGrail representing the applicant Northeast Warehouse Boston LLC. Our architect and site civil engineer have conflicts and they're not able to be here tonight. So with me tonight is Jerry Keene, who's the owner of the principal of the ownership entity. So we're flying alone tonight and going to do our best. It's really, we just want to kind of bring the board up to some changes that were made pursuant to requests of the board from an architectural perspective, which lead to some changes with the site civil. And we also want to talk a little bit about the landscaping design, if we can, if you'll allow us to do that. I think the first thing I'm going to start with is the site civil changes that have occurred pursuant to requests of the board. So what I did to save us all a lot of aggravation and confusion, since I'm not a site civil, I had John Ogren mock up the plan that I submitted on Friday, kind of highlighting the changes that have been made. I thought it would be, I like pictures when I do this stuff, so I thought it would be good. And then you'll see that the architectural plans are in sync with this when I get to those. Is this large enough? Can you see it?
I can. Board members, you're good?
Oh, like a bit
You
bigger.
could blow it up a little bit.
How's
I'm a
that?
bit older. That's great.
Is that good? I'll start at the top. Okay. So what you're going to see, what we did pursuant to our last discussions, we removed parking and added landscaping in these areas. Okay. And then we did it in this area as well. And then what we did is you had mentioned about all these stairs and ramps in the front of the building and suggested, great suggestion, by the way, and our architect agreed. Why do you have all these stairs and ramps? Why don't you do them inside the building? So we've made that adjustment pursuant to the recommendation or strong suggestion of the board. So the site plan is now has reduced the stairs. We've added landscaping in this area. These stairs have been removed. This concrete walkway needs to remain for ADA accessible route. We've removed parking spaces in this area as requested by the board to increase the landscaping. So now the parking, as you might recall, was required at 58. We previously had 47 and we're all the way down to 30. So that's it on the site plan.
I see it.
On the architectural plans. Nothing's changed on this. I mean, you can actually see on this, I should say, the landscaping that's been added in with those spaces were in the back, landscaping added in here. We've increased landscaping here. We now have this landscaping strip here because we're able to get rid of the ramp. And basically what he did was he lowered the new offices and he changed the layout in the offices to have the stairs run inside the building. There's still a walkway, as I mentioned, in the front of the building for the handicap ramp use, where the handicap ramp used to be to provide an accessible path to the from the parking area to the office. So he also said that's needed to cover lower, to not lower the grade too much to too close to the existing building to preserve the frost line of that foundation. So he's been able to put a lot of stuff on the interior. And this stuff is just repetitive. I'm not going to waste the board's time on it. It deals with the solar panels on the roof. So this is kind of where the rubber hits the road. We've got additional landscaping on the side here, but nothing's really changed
Zoom in more, Brian,
on the
on the entry, because it shows everything right there.
There you go, Jim. Is that where you want it, Jim?
Yeah, because it looks like it's not so much a ramp as a walkway that basically doesn't chase the grade, it chases the entry, which I think was what Mr. Tarbell was looking for.
It used to be all stairs and stuff in this area.
Yeah, makes more sense.
I think it looks great. Super.
That usually happens when you listen. So this is just kind of other sides of the building. Now, and this might give you a little bit of this is probably a good shot for you.
Looks
Okay.
good.
I mean, that's a nice warehouse entrance now.
Yep. What I'd like to do with the board's permission, I got it today, and it's pretty basic, but just to move this project along, I'd like to share the landscape plan that was done by Jim Emanuel. Because Chip, I think that'd be a discussion with you on the size of the trees, and I know you want time to digest it, but maybe just a quick look at it, if that's okay with the board, even though it wasn't submitted on Friday.
Jim's getting pretty used to us, so I would be surprised if it's. But if you can just put up the table, Brian.
Yeah, I'm not looking for a sign off on it, but maybe you might see something blatant that you saying, have them take a look at this or something. So if I could. Okay. So this, all the landscape areas, he has a note on here, all landscaped areas to be irrigated. So Chip, you need to see the table, right?
If you can just blow up to the table, Brian, yeah. Now you gotta move it, yeah, there you go.
Is that big enough?
Yeah, those are all appropriate.
Okay. I'll send you a copy of this, Mr. Chair, for the record,
Sounds good.
because you don't have this yet. I'll send that either tonight or tomorrow.
I don't see the stuff you sent. We'll just need to print those for the file, Gail, just on the side, so I can stamp them and log them in as of tonight. I just don't see them, but we'll add that landscape to it. Yep.
I'll send John Ogren's mocked up plan.
Okay, so what we got was without the markups, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Just for the further discussion, and where does the board stand on the signage? I just don't want to because we're showing it on here. Are you gonna want more detail on that?
I don't have anything to look at as far as size, but I can't imagine, given this building, that it's a problem, but
Yeah.
we should have a full record. because we've
That's
got
what I
two
figured.
signs.
So you're gonna want the specs on the signs, right, Jim, with the signs?
Yeah, size of lettering, that sort of stuff, square footage,
Yeah.
you know the drill.
Okay.
So they look to be square boards, Jim. If you look on, but are you allowed to, Jim, remind me, are you allowed to have two signs on one side of the building?
If it's based on street frontage, basically, so I'd have to look. I suspect they can, because they're towards, I think one is like towards a parking lot, another one towards a street or something like that.
No, they're both, from what he showed on the,
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's a small one
there's
over
two
there on the
facing
far
the same
side.
direction.
Yeah,
Old building, new building.
And what's the street frontage if it's based on that? Is it that tiny little spot on Melbourne Street?
Yeah, Greg. Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
might, no matter the size of the building, if it's based on street frontage, it might be.
well, but they can still ask for something from us. We just
Yeah, oh,
need-
yeah.
we just need to tell them what they need to be asking for.
I think, Jim, that might require just a separate filing for a sign variance, depending on where it goes, which isn't a
Yeah,
big.
right.
But
And
but we
and this
want
is not-
direction.
this
Since
is
you
not
have,
like This is not
One
like
at a
the
time.
storage building, basically, that had a lot of signs. I mean, this has got a teeny little sign on one side compared with the building size and the original one on the other side. So I, it's maybe more to the point that Chip brought up, basically. How many can you have on the same side?
There's one here too.
Oh, you're not sharing anymore, I don't think so.
Oh, Sorry, thank
But
you.
I would just echo the comment, just have the team put together a plan.
Yeah.
Maybe if Jim can have a look, confirm what kind of relief may be needed.
Yeah,
that
because
way it's
there's
in the
one here
record.
too, Jim.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, or eliminate signs so there's no relief.
We'll talk to Jim about it.
He's a
Either way.
pushover.
No, but even as Brian said, even if he has to file for something because they want a certain sign package, then that can happen.
That can happen later. I mean,
Yep.
it doesn't have to delay this process, so.
No. Okay.
But I just wanted to put it on the table, so. it doesn't-
Brian, do you have any parking lot lighting?
I don't think we're proposing anything. Jerry, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Brian.
Were you planning on any parking lot lighting or no?
Yes. I know that our town was working with someone to get a proposal for lighting.
Yeah, well, that's a
So
good
we'll
point.
need a package on that, Brian,
Yeah.
too,
Thank you for mentioning that.
as well as all your safety lights on the building, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's it. That's what we have tonight, Mr. Chair.
Brian,
Okay.
what do you have left on this project to kind of wrap up?
I mean, really going back to what you had talked about with, conditions to at least start the board's discussion on conditions. I'd like to, potentially draft some of those just to get the conversation going with the board.
The other thing, Brian, I think you need to think of as an O&M plan of some sort.
Yeah.
Because I don't notice a whole lot of room for snow storage. But at least what the plan would be.
Yep.
Where we are potentially thinking about reducing the amount of parking spaces, so like, where are you gonna put this stuff?
Got it. Okay. And the other thing, we're still working out with the town engineer. We still have issues with, not issues, but we need to get the final. We've made changes. We're still working, I should say, with the town engineer to satisfy him.
Okay. I was just going to say my notes also mentioned DPW water pipe, something. So.
Yeah.
All right. But landscaping, firm up the plan, lighting, signage, O&M, draft conditions.
Yep.
Okay. Sound good, board members? That's sort of the punch list.
Yes.
All right, at this time, we'll open up the public testimony. If anyone has a comment or question, we'll entertain that at this time. Please raise your hand in the Zoom meeting. Seeing no hands being raised, we'll close with the public testimony for the evening.
Dave, just one other thing to ask for, and I may have missed it, so I apologize ahead of time. Is like cut sheets of the materials, like the railing and stuff like that. I saw railing on some of the pictures, but not other pictures. That's what got me thinking about it. That might be the only thing that, or I guess the lighting would be spec'd out too.
As well as the building materials.
Yeah. Yes,
Whether
outside
it's
of obvious
block
building.
or
Yeah.
miscellaneous metals or all of that, kind of need to run through a whole package so we know what we're getting.
I don't think we've seen that, but
We have
busy
not.
around here, so.
No, I think it's been shown on plans, but not, yeah. Okay. Thanks for adding. So put that on the punch list. Okay. Anything else, board members, before we entertain a motion to continue?
I think you might need an extension on this one at this point, Mr. Chair. I don't know when the application that was. I
Let's just see.
think we talked about it last time and said we'd deal with it this time.
We're clocked in March 28th.
Yeah, you're there. Because June 28th, you're pushing 90, so. So why don't we just extend this until the end of August, just to, hopefully it won't take that long, but we can just be safe with that, if that's okay with the board.
Sounds reasonable. So, motion to continue the hearing to the 28th of June and extend the time to first to render a decision to August 30th. Correct?
Correct. So I move that we continue the hearing to June 28th and the time to render a decision to August 30th.
Seconded.
Any discussion on the motion? All right, same voting members, Chip,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes,
Tom,
Yes.
and I vote yes, so that's unanimous. All right, thanks for the updates tonight, Brian. Team,
Yep.
talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Yep, thank you very much.
On to new hearings. Case 23-87 and 88, is Seth Chum and Tasting Boba LLC at 8 Albion Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Attorney Brian McGrail representing the applicants on this matter, 8 Albion Street. This involves two applications before your board. There's an application for a special permit under Article 4, Section 190-23 for fast food, another application for a special permit under Article 16-190-101F for signage. And we are only going forward tonight on the fast food use because we're not ready to proceed on the signage. We are in the process of working with the design review board for appropriate signage for this building. And we have to have an appearance before them for recommendation to your board. So we're not prepared to move forward on that, but we would like to move forward on the fast food use special permit because, that would not hold up. In the event it was approved, the opening of the business and they could operate with a temporary sign as is allowed under the bylaw. So that's how we're proceeding tonight, if it's okay with you, just on that one application. So if I may.
Okay.
Okay, so to refresh the board's memory on this, at a prior meeting, you waived the site plan requirement for this because it's at the location as mentioned is 8 Albion Street, which is across the street from the affiliated financial signage building that we talked about at the last meeting. It is right next to the Rockland Trust branch. It's the former site of a jeweler for years, a barber shop. And I think we showed pictures of the building, so I'm sure the board is aware of the building. I also wanted to talk a little bit about Boba in their operation. There will be food preparation here, but there's no kitchen and no cooking. Basically, the only thing they'll do is brew tea, and then they use that brew tea to sell it, and just to kind of give the board a little, no pun intended, but a flavor of what this is all about. I'm going to share something. And Bachess can add, he can add to this if he needs to. But boba tea is really becoming popular nationwide. You're going to see it more and more. It's a healthy option for some tasty drinks and smoothies. And this is a menu of a boba tea that opened in Richmond, Virginia. So the menu here will be the same because this is a national franchise that Bachess had invested in and is going to open. And this just gives you kind of an idea of pretty neat stuff. And then they also have, various toppings that you can pick on your tea. And then they have kind of treats or desserts. They have mochi ice cream, which you can see, and then they have macaroons. And these are to die for, from what I'm told by a few people, that people come from all over the place to get boba tea and to get these items. So I think it's going to be a real nice and unique and different addition to downtown Wakefield.
Can I
And
drop off some samples at the building department?
well, the Snow Ice series, that looks pretty good. Yeah. So I just want to give you an idea of that. And then we also talked about, basically, maybe some pictures and I went to the site. There was really nothing to do. So I thought the easiest way is to, to give the board an idea of what's going on around here is to just take a quick look through Google Earth, and I'm going to bring that up, and that's the best way to take a look at this. So here it comes. So here's the property. As you can see, there's no parking. This is not a separate building. It's attached to this building, and Vichess has storage there that he's able to use. This parking lot is not associated with this building. It does not go with this property. So there's really not, that's it. I mean, there's an alleyway. Vichess and I talked about this as far as deliveries go. Which is always a concern of the board. There will be no deliveries here. Vichess picks up all his items from a distributorship through Boba. So it's not like trucks pull up. He gets everything through Boba. As far as trash goes, there'll be inside trash. He has an area in the back to store the trash. Very little trash generated here. He's only going to have approximately 8 seats. So it's not going to be not a big trash generator. And he'll have private pickup that he can put the barrels out on a certain day. He's got a little place to leave them in an alley, and then he'll put them right away. So it's really a pretty simple operation. And the request that we have from the board is we need, because this is a food item prepared quickly, can be dispersed quickly. It's classified under our bylaw as a fast food, and that's why we're requesting the fast food special permit. Not too different from the sushi fast food that was recently granted by the board on the other end of Albany Street, if you might recall. So we're happy.
Brian, is there any thought to do anything with that, what I might call ugly roof?
Yeah, we're working with the sign review board. We originally wanted to put a sign on it. That's not going to work. They didn't like that. We understand it. So we can't get rid of that roof because we're just a tenant here. And
Okay.
we don't own the building. So
I mean, to me, it blocks your windows, it blocks the entrance,
what's going to happen,
doesn't
Chip?
do anything for the building.
Yeah, the building is going to get improved. These windows are going to be opened up. They're kind of small little windows from when the jeweler was there, probably for security purposes. But now they're going to be the front windows are going to be opened up, that you'll be able to see what's going on inside the building where you currently cannot. And we're anticipating with the design review board that we're going to come up with a real tasteful bracket sign that's going to come off of the building. The one that was put there for the realtor, that was a swing and a miss because it just didn't fit proportionally on the building, and it was too high and you can't see it. So I think
We've had a preliminary discussion with him to talk to discuss maybe concepts of what might happen there, because he's looking for direction from the design review board. And we'll continue that discussion. That was informal. This next meeting will be formal, basically, at this point.
Jim, I guess the thing that would concern me here is that, like an Orange Julius or any of these other national franchises, you can end up with the windows being covered with junk pretty quickly, right? And a fluorescent open sign, or just remind them of all the things they can't do.
Yeah, it's, as you point out, the windows are pretty small. They're not gonna get any wider. They're just gonna get deeper, basically. So, they're gonna lose a lot of light doing any window work there, quite frankly.
Yeah,
If you start posting stuff.
Okay, any other comments or feedback, board members? Seems pretty straightforward to me, Brian. And yeah, we'll come back on signs, but it seems for the permit application, seems pretty straightforward. Okay. If there's nothing else, we'll open up the public testimony. If anyone has a comment or question about this application, please raise your hand at this time in the Zoom meeting. Seeing no hands, will close it to public testimony. Brian, like the other applications, I just refreshed my memory. We don't need a variance on parking.
No, because it's a one non-conforming use to the next, that there's no difference in parking, because this is exempt from parking anyways with the number of seats and maximum employees.
Okay, I just want to be clear. I just in case anyone,
I thought of that too.
because so many of the businesses we do along Main Street and other corridors, that's always a
Yeah,
point of
a
discussion.
lot of
but I
times
just
if you
wanted to
have like a retail that's changing to a restaurant, that's gonna be a significant number of seats, then it triggers it.
the other thing I was curious about is, do you think we need an O&M so that we know what the hours of operation are, know when lights will be on and off? Or does that just happen with, do we, I know we're told that there'll be no deliveries, but should we set either a condition or set times that there could be? Because let's say this thing explodes and now all of a sudden, we need to get a little truck to come deliver stuff on a every other day basis or something. I just want to be prepared for the future as compared to get caught. Brian, any thoughts?
I think the hours, I would suggest no hour restrictions because it's in the downtown business district. And I think we want, this is not like an alcohol related thing or anything. I would think the longer he's open, the better. I think it's encouraged to keep businesses down there open, especially businesses. You go downtown, Cravings is hopping at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night.
Right.
So, I think it's self restricting because, people aren't going to come for boba tea at 1 a.m. But I think you should not put a restriction on the hours. That would be a request. As far as the deliveries, that's, I don't, we've said there aren't going to be any, who knows if something changes, Mr. Tabell, I respect that. But I don't, usually that stuff works itself out downtown. If there were deliveries here, there's certainly not going to be tractor trailer trucks or bigger trucks. But that's up to the board.
Excuse me, Brian, back of the envelope, when do you think you will be open, or is that too much? My issue is that there's so much down there that you don't know what the chicken, if it's the chicken or the egg. Like, are they not open on a Sunday because they're not open on Sundays, or it's because nobody's there on a Sunday? There's nobody there on a Sunday because they're not open. I mean, do they have any thoughts? 8 to 8?
Yeah, point well taken. I mean, both good questions from Mr. Tabell, Mr. Feely. So Vizcheth, can you maybe inform the board what your plan is as far as operating hours? You have to.
Yes, we had planned from 11 to 8.
7 days a week.
7 days a week, yeah. Hopefully, seeing how the community within the area of customers, we might shorten it up to 6 days a week. So it just all depends on how busy the location is. If it gets pretty busy, I would like to have a 7 days opening.
you don't want to nail somebody to an hour, but I mean, I think as a town, we need to understand that there are a lot of things that aren't open a lot of times down there. And we should err on the side of having them open. That's just my personal opinion. But
I wanted to get back to Chip's question about the deliveries. I know, Brian, you said downtown they kind of work themselves out, but this seems to be a sort of unique site. A little bit more constrained or restricted being on a side street. I would, be in favor of saying, at least right now, no, conditioning it to no deliveries. That way that if you do need deliveries, it would come back to us so we can understand what the process is. I know you said that because of what it is, there likely wouldn't be tractor trailers, but I know I've gone by, especially national chains, that it may be a small store, but a tractor trailer comes by because they're hitting up, 15, 20 small stores throughout the day. So a condition to me seems to make sense, just so we can kind of understand, what the process is going forward if this does, grow throughout the area, like you said, the people are projecting it to.
Yep. Is Jeff, you okay with that? You're comfortable that you're not gonna have deliveries? You go pick up all your stuff and that's gonna stay that
Yes, I'm very comfortable with that. So there is a distributor here in the city of Lynn. It's a warehouse that I go pick it up from there, and then I put it in my truck. And again, we usually stock a 6-month supply in our stock room. So again, I can attest to that there'll be no deliveries.
How many franchises do you own?
This is my first franchise. My partner has about 8 franchises in the North Shore. So there's one in Chelsea. The first 3 franchise I was open was Lynn, Chelsea, and Brookline, and then it kind of expanded to Virginia. Now Gloucester just recently opened a couple months ago. Peabody is starting to have a grand opening. Woburn. So I mean, boba tea's been a very popular drinks. It's becoming popular, and it's that great.
Okay.
Yeah, we're happy to take that condition, Greg, if the board wants to do that, and maybe I could respectfully suggest that we would, tack something on the condition, as Greg said, that if the situation changes, the board reserves the jurisdiction to allow deliveries at its discretion or something like that. Just so it would be kind of recognized, Greg, as a minor modification, so.
Yep. No, I think that's great, because then it's, not against, obviously want businesses to flourish, but also understand what's going on.
Yeah, totally respect that. Yeah.
So one thing that I want to mention also is that when we move in, all the equipments that needs to be in there, will be a few deliveries. So I just want to clear that out. That's going to be okay with that.
Initially, to get up and running, that's reasonable. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We're talking about the ongoing maintenance. And again, if it changes, then that condition gives us an opportunity to have another conversation and see if we need to consider other things as part of that. Okay. Because maybe your hours would change, or maybe the trash becomes a situation. Maybe we then need to draft maybe an O&M of some kind to take care of ongoing maintenance of the, business if it does go in that direction. But yeah, but I think it's good to get started.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else, board members? All right, so
speaking of trash, Brian, did they have a dumpster back there? Did you mention that?
Well, he'll have barrels inside his unit in the back, Joe. And you're gonna keep the barrels inside, right?
Yes. It's going to be in the back. We're going to be getting a vendor that comes pick up. I think it's I'm not sure who serviced Wakefield yet, but I'm looking into that.
Okay.
And like Brian was saying, we're not going to be generating a lot of trash. It's just the cups and napkins and some of the straws. So it's pretty small amount of trash.
The board wanted to put a condition, no outside stores of trash, that's fine. Just so.
Mhm.
To document that. You're okay with that, right, Bichette?
Yes.
Yeah.
So on that alley, not to mention also the Rockland Trust Bank has, I think, a 2-yard dumpster right there, and then the tennis upstairs has those city barrels. So I was looking to get the 2 city barrels and just put it right next to it
Oh, on pickup days.
on picked up days. Yeah.
All right, and for the record, we did receive correspondence from other town boards, the DPW, no comments. Conservation, not within their jurisdiction. And the fire department, of course, reminding the applicant that they need to comply with all applicable fire and sanitary code regulations pertaining to a fast food restaurant. And please call them with any questions from the chief of fire chief. And that's it for correspondence. So. All right. So Brian, what you'll be looking for, if the board were so inclined, is to vote on the special permit now, and then you'll come back to signage. We can continue that, or it's never, or technically, have we opened it? Did we open both and we'll continue the variance?
Yeah, you could just continue the special permit for the sign.
Oh, it's not a variance for the sign.
Yeah,
Special.
because
Okay.
it's the overlay district.
Okay, special permit. Okay,
And what is it, Brian, for the fast food?
It's a permit to allow fast food for the boba tea operation. It's under Article 4, Section 190.23,
yeah, the use, yeah.
fast food use.
And again, there were no plans. We waived that, so there's really no plans to reference, Chip, just the conditions on delivery and trash storage. And I think that covers it, would cover it. You gathering your thoughts?
Me?
Have
No,
you gone to the
Chip.
public? Have you gone to the public yet?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
God, I missed it.
Yep.
There were so many people talking, I wasn't sure what that session was. So now my thoughts are gathered. Thank you. So first, I would like to continue the special permit for signage till when, Brian?
I would say, Jim, you're gonna be away, right, Mr. McBain? So a little bit, so I think it's gonna have to be to the July hearing. No, let's not even, it's not gonna. What do you?
July, and then you can push it off after that if you want.
Yeah, because we've got to have a meeting with the design review board. And then the sign person is gonna probably have to go back and do some
Yeah,
revision.
so you'll probably won't be till August anyway, but.
2 weeks, but Chet, that's not gonna happen in
Yeah.
2 weeks, so.
And somebody, Gail, what's our July date?
The 12th,
The
I don't think
12th.
It is,
12th.
yeah. Okay, so I move that we continue the special permit for signage till July 12th. And at this time that we grant the fast food permit for 8 Albion under Article 4, 190-23, with 2 conditions: that trash be left inside until the day of pickup, and 2, that there are no deliveries being made by truck, and that if that needs to be changed, they can certainly come back and discuss it with us as a minor modification, if you would. However you guys want to phrase that in the.
Yeah, we have retained jurisdiction to.
We retain jurisdiction on deliveries.
Yep. Okay,
Second.
thank you. Any discussion on the motions? All right, regular voting members, Chip,
Yes,
Joe, Jim,
Yes.
Yes,
Tom,
yes,
and I vote yes. Okay, so the use permit has been granted, and we'll see where we are in July for the signage.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, next new hearing, 23-89 and 90. Mick Revocable Trust and Kelly Engage Silva at 85 Lantern Lane.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Attorney Brian McGrail, representing the applicants, the Mickles Revocable Trust and Kelly Engage Silva, all co-applicants for the proposal at 5 Lantern Lane. For introduction purposes, Robert and Robin Mickles are on the Zoom, and they're the current owners of the property through the trust at 5 Lantern Lane. And also on are Kelly Engage Silva. Kelly is Robert and Robin's daughter. Engage is her husband. And the reason they are all applying is because Kelly Engage are in the process of purchasing the property from Robert and Robin. The sale is imminent, and it's happening because of a situation that I'm going to talk about a little bit as I move forward here. So we didn't know when the closing was going to happen, so we had to kind of put everybody on the application. So and it's actually scheduled to close tomorrow. So it's kind of a happy family moment, and they're moving in together, and there's a reason for that, which I'll explain. So there are 4 applicants. They have accelerated the sales process. Kelly Engage recently sold their other home in Wakefield in order to move in with Kelly's folks. And the process has been accelerated because of family medical condition or circumstance. The desire is to add an accessory dwelling unit for Bob and Robin to live in, and Kelly Engage will live in the main house with their 4 children. They have 4 daughters that are all 6 and under. They'll all live as a family unit. The desire to do that has been prompted by a health circumstance for Bob. Bob has suffered from significant heart issues over the years. He had a heart attack at age 45, and he had another heart attack at age 60. And because of the severe damage caused by those heart attacks, he ended up needing a heart transplant, which he fortunately was able to receive. And that transplant was done in March of 2019. And I'm happy to say, you can see him on the screen, it was done very successfully. And things are going great, thank God. He's actually working again, but as part of this whole thing, he needs significant medication on a daily basis. Bob told me today he takes up to 27 pills a day, and he needs monitoring, family monitoring of his circumstances. So the accessory apartment that is being proposed will provide a safe place for Bob and Robin to live in. It will allow Kelly Engage to help with Bob's care and monitoring. It will allow them to enjoy their grandchildren, which is obviously healthy for any grandparent. And it will result in an improved quality of life and safety and a peace of mind for the entire family, including Kelly Engage, that they can be there and look over Bob as he goes through his recovering and his way back to normal life. So that kind of is why this is happening, which is, you hear a lot of reasons for the accessory apartments. This is probably the most needed one I've ever proposed to the board, and it's all Wakefield people. Bob and Robert have been at Lantern Lane. They purchased the house in 2015. As I mentioned, Kelly Engage, a Wakefield residents, they sold their house on Forester Road in order to buy this house to work with mom and dad. So the proposal involves a modest single-story addition to an existing single-family house as part of this. It only has a height, as you'll see as I go through the plans, of 13 feet. It's a single-story addition. And because we're doing an addition, I'll say, in addition to the special permit for the accessory apartment, my clients are also seeking a variance for the addition itself, because there's a setback issue with the variance that needs relief. And then they're seeking a variance from the requirement of 190-22A 1F. F7 it is, where it relates to the addition for an accessory apartment. So that kind of sets the table. I think the best thing to open with, because we did do a site plan here because there's an addition involved to the house that needs relief. So we didn't do this with just kind of like a plot plan. And I'm going to share that with the board and go through that in some detail.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the plan, and this is the existing conditions plan. It's a split level house. It's really the engineer classifies this and the architect as 1.5 stories, because the bottom floor is a good part submerged into the ground because of the unique topography of this lot, as you'll see when I go through some of the photos that were prepared by the architect. There's a driveway coming off Lantern Lane because the house sits up. It's a slope going up, and then it kind of flattens out where the house is. There's a backyard, and there's an extremely steep slope going up to the neighbors in the rear. Pretty significant topography. And currently, actually, the Mickles are in the process of installing a retaining wall back here to retain the slope, and to kind of give them a little bit more yard, especially with the young children that are going to be living there now, because there's not a lot there now. That wall that's being built obtained a building permit because it's over 4 feet. So the building department has issued a permit for that. It's the wall itself is still approximately 15 feet away from the back lot line. So it's not like that wall was built right on the property line. And there's a white fence above it that is staying. I also want to point out that where the driveway is, as I mentioned, the slope comes up and then it flattens out at the top with the house, and there's a 2-car garage. And that flattening out becomes of some significance when we start going through some of the standards for the variance. So this is the this is the proposed addition. And what they're looking to do is they are looking to construct the addition. If you go through the zoning table, and I've done this a number of times, I will tell you it meets everything. This is a conforming lot. It has 100 feet of frontage and is 12,000 square feet. So it was created years ago, but interestingly, it meets all the requirements of the current zoning bylaw. The addition also meets the requirements of the side yard setback. The only area where it falls back is the rear, where 25 feet is required in the rear. They're proposing to do 18 because of the addition. As you'll see, I think it really has no impact on folks out back because it's 1 story, and the topography, you can't even see it from that view. It's important to push this back because we want to try to maintain the 2-car garage, which Bob needs to have vehicles in the wintertime. And also to create this flat spot keep this flat spot at the top of the driveway. If we push this addition forward to try to comply with that rear setback, we'd end up losing the garage, and then it would lose the flat area of the driveway, would create really a safety issue, and especially for Bob. So I can go through, I'm going to go, as I normally do, I'm not going to skip. I'm going to go through the zoning table in detail. As I mentioned, the lot area required is 12,000. It meets the requirements. There's no max density, single residence. Frontage and width are met on this, 100 feet. Floor area ratio is not applicable. The minimum front yard setback is 20 feet. The existing house is 31. The addition is going to be 50. The minimum side yard back is 15. This deck is legal non-conforming. My light's the only one that just flickered.
No, mine too. So
Okay.
mine too. So
Brian, we're in the same neighborhood. We could be out any minute now.
We'll see what happens. So this is legal non-conforming, the deck, even though it's 2.6. And the addition, as I mentioned, is going to meet the 15-foot setback requirement. The rear yard setback is the deficiency here. 25 feet is required, 33 is current, and we are requesting to go to 18. As I've mentioned, it's only 1.5 stories, 2.5 is allowed. Height is not an issue either on the house or the addition. Building coverage, 30% is allowed. It's currently at 16. We're going to go to 23 and remain in compliance. Minimum open area is 40%. It's currently 67.2, and we're going down to 63.7. So it meets all of the requirements, except, as I mentioned, for rear setback. So if I may, Mr. Chair, I'm going to go to the architecturals. So on the architecturals, this is the existing lower level, which you can see it's already finished pretty significantly. And this is the garage that I'm talking about. And back in this area here is where the proposed accessory apartment is going. This is the upper level, if you will, existing. Nothing's proposed to be changed up here. And then this is helpful because this gives you an idea of the topography. And this is first of all, what I was talking about on the driveway. This goes up, this picture makes it look better than it is. It's pretty significant, goes up, and then you have this flat plateau where the car is parked, you have the garage. And we want to keep that flat plateau. We think, when I get into the standards for the variance, I think that's the hardship. You have a safety hardship here, especially considering the circumstances. And so I did want to point that out. You can also see kind of in the back, and there's a better picture of this, but this is where there's a ton of buffer and it rises up before you get to the abutting road is Vailview Road, and it abuts backyards up there. So this is the topography in the back that I was talking about. And this is where probably right in about this area, they're cutting in the retaining wall to open up this backyard a little bit. They're having it professionally done. But this white fence is not being affected. It stays. So it's not even going near that. And this is where the addition will come back a little bit, the 1 story. This is a picture of the garage. So this is where the addition will be. You can kind of see the flat spot that I'm talking about here. And this is the front of the house, which really shows the topography, as I've mentioned. You continued, you have steps up to get to the house. So that flat area is really important for Bob for access, being able to maneuver around and get in and get out, etc. So, I'm going to go on the architecturals. This is the proposed accessory dwelling. So it just details a little bit. The entrance will be from the front. You'll see it in a minute. And we've got the living room area, bath, ceiling, bedroom. And the architect did the calculations. So the current situation, the existing habitable lower is 1364. The upper is 1861 for a total of 3225. And then on the proposed lower level, the existing remains. We're proposing to add the addition in the back, and this is the footprint. And so that's going to be added on to the 1364 for a total of 2079 on the first floor. As I mentioned, the existing upper level doesn't change. It remains at 1861. So the total now goes from 3225 to 3940 with the addition. And the accessory apartment is at 18%. So it meets the requirement of the bylaw for over 300 square feet, but under the 25% of the total habitable area of the dwelling. This is the architectural elevations, which I think are always helpful for the board to kind of get an idea of. So this is the front. So this, as you look up from the driveway, this would be the entrance to the accessory. As I mentioned, it's 1 story, it's only 13 feet high. This is the side view as you face it, looking at the garage from the side of the house. This is the rear. And this is just the left side from the other side of the house, which kind of sees the roof sticking out at that 1-story level. And the architect, I think, did kind of a good job with some kind of real life images on how it might kind of look and fit. And I think, you know, with, and this is just, you know, again, the interior layout, which I mean, a nice place for Bob and Robin to be. So with that said, the other thing I'd like to add is Bob and Robin approached the Lantern Lane neighbors that they know, you know, the people that they know, which they know everybody on Lantern Lane. I'm happy to say, and I'm sure they're happy, and Kelly and Gage are happy that they've received global support from all of the neighbors on Lantern Lane. And they not only received support from them for this project, but throughout the whole ordeal. It's a great neighborhood. So a lot of them, I'm going to share, if I may, Mr. Chair, a petition that they signed. One Lantern Lane is way down the end. It's not relevant, but 3 Lantern Lane is right next door. And then that's the Aloises, and then on the other side is the Simiolas, and they're on board, and all the people across the street, virtually everybody. It's a very small cul-de-sac. Bob did not approach the folks, any of the folks in the rear. He doesn't know who they are, but again, I think you can see from the topography, there's really not a lot of impact back there. But I also would like to say that not only did these folks sign the petition, but a lot of them are on this Zoom call tonight to express their support in addition to the petition that they signed. So I think, you know, I'm happy to go through the standards of the special permit and variance, which I'm always prepared to do. But if there's any, should I entertain questions or comment at this point before I do that, Mr. Chair? I'll defer to you.
I'll open up to the board for comments. I think you covered most of the points. That if the board proceeds to a vote, then we're going to have to cover the surety and the bond thing. But
yeah, I would go through that as part of my special permit standard.
Right. But I think you've covered the rest, and we will need copies of all these plans. Like we don't have the electronic copies of the site plan, the architectural, or that letter. So
Yeah.
we'll need copies of all that, please.
Yeah, you have hard copies, but I'll send you electric copies. Yep.
We need the electric ones. Yes.
Yep.
The PDFs. Yes. Thanks. Board members, any comments or questions? If anyone's talking, you're all on mute.
I'm good.
Okay.
I always struggle with this addition, you know, the proposal is that the reason for is that it goes into an original house without an addition, and I always struggle, but the way to do it and the need for it I get, so I'm okay with it. Particularly with the neighborhood support.
Mhm.
Hey, Brian, can I ask you one question? Are you counting any of the calculations? Are you only using the addition to add the calculation for this? Are you adding any of the existing basement? Because some of them, I mean, they have 3 kids, so they're not going to be all in that one little spot, right?
Yeah, so let me just see, Joe, let me just bring up the architectural so I can address that.
I don't even know if it matters because
Well, let me look. I want to make sure that we're not missing something that you're bringing up at a point that we didn't think about. So also, so
Because is there like a line between existing?
Yeah, so the accessory apartment is basically his your line on the accessory apartment. The blue.
So it's just the addition, you're not counting any of the.
No,
existing-
no, the other side is for, yeah, that's Kelly and Gage. They have 4 kids, so that's all their area.
Oh, okay, so they're moving into the main house and then the addition is for the parents.
That's right.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Bob, I'm correct on that, right? You're gonna unmute.
Yes, you are correct.
Great, thank you, Bob.
Dave, I've passed my vote on to somebody else.
Okay. Greg,
Sure.
okay,
Did I go through the standards, Mr. Chair?
sure, quickly, before the
Okay.
lightning knocks the power out of the Zoom call.
All right, so real quick, just for the record, on the variance, as you know, there's 3 standards. The first is unusual circumstances affecting the land or structures. This property certainly has unique topography, as I went over in detail. And it also has the location of the structure and the internal layout of the structure, which can be considered by the board. It's only 1.5 stories because of the topography. They certainly could put an additional story on, but that would be a financial hardship considering what they want to do. As far as the hardship goes, this is the only place it could go. And basically in the hardship here is, as I mentioned, safety, which has been determined to be a viable hardship under a variance that the board can consider safety issues as it pertains to that flat area on the driveway. And also, as I mentioned, the financial hardship because of the topography, there's limited places to do this, and it will be a financial hardship to rip off the roof and go up, and it actually wouldn't work here because of the limitations that Bob has. As far as a substantial detriment and derogation to the neighborhood, that's the 3rd prong on a variance. Considering the location of the addition, the height of the addition, the topography out back, and the support of the neighborhood, I think that standard is easily met. So that is the variance standards. I can be quick on the special permit standards. We meet all requirements. We're looking for the standard waivers on the bond, as is typical with the board. And we also, as I mentioned, the only other thing that the variance would be applicable to would be section 7, which says that it won't involve an extension or an enlargement of the principal dwelling. And so we do need a variance from that. And that besides that, it's our position that we meet all the other requirements under 190.22A1F. Is that efficient enough?
It is
Okay.
for me. Hopefully everyone's memorized these by heart. We do them about 1 a month, so. All right, board members, any final comments, questions before I open it up? All right. So we'll open up the public testimony at this time. If anyone is on the call, wishes to make a comment or ask a question, please raise your hand at this time in the Zoom meeting. I see Kate Simiola.
Yep. Hi, I'm Kate Simiola and my husband, Mike, and we live next door to.
Yeah, what address? Excuse me, ma'am. Just want to get your
Oh,
name and
sure.
address.
Sorry, it's 7 Lantern Lane.
Thank you.
So we live next door and we just wanted to join to, express our support for the project. We think it'll do good things for the street and the town and, the neighborhood to have, a family. We have 2 boys ourselves, so we think it's great, to have another family with kids move in. It's good for property values to, do renovations. And so I think that covers everything. We just wanted to join essentially to say, we support the project and think it would be great for the street.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Seeing no other hands going up, we'll close it to public testimony. So back to the board.
So,
So
Mr.
we
Chairman,
should have
you
two
want to
votes.
do it all in one or two?
No, we should do two.
Okay, so I move that we grant the variance for the rear yard setback as defined in the plans that we saw this evening.
Seconded.
Okay, it's a variance on two parts, also paragraph 7. They're extending it. So the variance is really on both parts of the,
Well, you said you wanted to do it separately. The other one is the other one is for the accessory use.
right, but
Yeah,
Brian,
I would
it's-
do it, wouldn't
you
you
only
do it
did
the way
one
Chip
variance.
says?
sorry.
Yeah, because you would
Brian,
vary the special permit.
Yeah, Brian, help me out here.
You can do it, I mean, you can, I need, the variance needs to be for the addition itself for the rear setback, as Mr. Tabell just made the motion for. And then we need a variance as it relates to the requirements of the accessory apartment under 190-22A1F.
Along with the special permit.
Well, that, it needs to be a variance vote, so it can be
So we're
done.
doing 3.
You could do 3, you know, that, you know, that could be done. It could be done that way, that it would be
Or do you want to do both variances together?
3 votes. I personally think 3 votes might be cleaner. That's my personal thought. I kind of defer to Greg's thoughts on this, but
No, I agree. I wouldn't, yeah, don't do 2 variances together.
yeah,
Especially when one relates to a special permit, not to technically the same building
Yeah.
project.
yeah, I agree with that. And especially the fact that if circumstances change, that accessory apartment needs to be vacated and then that will become part of the house. So you don't want that setback tied to the accessory apartment for the addition.
Right.
So I think it will be 2.
I think bottom
variance
line, to
votes.
cut through all the chase, I was correct.
Yeah, well, at least to
Now that
start.
we know where we were going, I'm in total agreement.
We're not sure he was going there.
I wasn't sure. That's why I wanted to. So there's a motion I'm sorry, was your motion on the
My
setback?
motion is for the variance for the rear yard setback of the addition as presented this evening.
Okay,
Seconded.
thank you. Any discussion on the motion on the rear yard setback? Regular voting members, Chip,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes,
and I vote yes, that's unanimous.
now I propose a variance to allow under 190-22A1F7 the use of the addition to be part of the special permit for an accessory apartment. Is that good, Greg?
it's for me.
Well,
It
Well,
gets to the point.
accessory- the
Yeah,
accessory
variance
apartment-
from the requirement of that section that you can't put an addition on,
Right,
allows that to happen.
right. So we're allowing that.
Okay,
It says, 7 says the accessory apartment shall not involve the extension or enlargement of the principal dwelling.
Right, so we're
They're
saying.
varying from that, allowing for that to happen.
Exactly. Exactly what I said, yeah.
a little different, but we got the point now. Second. Is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All right, same voting members, Chip,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes,
and I vote yes, so that's unanimous. Now that we've varied things,
I move that we grant the special permit to allow an accessory apartment at 8 Lantern Lane as presented to us this evening.
Seconded.
5 Lantern Lane.
5,
Seconded.
7 was who nicely spoke about it, 5 Lantern Lane.
Do we want to put in there the not with the surety?
Right. We need to add that.
And
If the
the surety will be based on a letter presented to the building department on a yearly basis.
Mhm.
Seconded the amended.
okay? Any discussion? All right, same voting members, Chip,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes,
and I vote yes, so that is unanimous. Okay, so all aspects have been approved unanimously. Good luck to you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right,
You.
our best, and I appreciate your patience tonight. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
All right, on to other matters. First one, 259 Water Street, Anthony Akari and 259 Water Street LLC to discuss a certificate of occupancy.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. These are on the other matters. I'm here with Mr. Akari, who's on the Zoom. This is regarding his multifamily project at 259 Water Street across from S&M Liquors near Fernal Field. It's pretty much at completion. I think the project came out great. We're requesting the board to correspond with the building inspector. I've talked to Ben to allow the issuance of a temporary occupancy certificate. Because what's happening now is it's coming up to the 4th of July. Mr. Akari has tenants that are scheduled to go in on July 1st. The lottery is in process. Basically where he stands, he's got all sign offs. The fire department has signed off, structural has signed off, MEP has signed off, architectural has signed off. The only things that are outstanding at this point, the irrigation system has to go in and the sod has to be installed. Everything else is there. That can't happen because of scheduling until mid-July. That's why we're only asking for a temporary, not your full sign off on the final CO. The elevator inspection is scheduled for Thursday. The regulatory agreement that's required, that stands that it's been approved by DHCD. It's been signed by the town. It's been signed by Mr. Akari. It's been signed by his lender. We're just waiting for DHD's signature so we can get it recorded at the Registry of Deeds. And as I've mentioned, the lottery's in process. So we're not looking for a final, we're looking just to be able for people to have a home, and then we'll be back when all of those final things are cleaned up for a sign off on the final CO. So we're not looking for you to direct the building inspector to issue, but to authorize him to issue, again, only a temporary CO at this point.
But based on what?
So
What are we authorizing? A certain number of tenants? We've done
No,
this.
on this building, because it's a rental building, Dave, he's gonna issue a full CO for the building. It's ready to go. But it would not be a final CO. It would be a 90-day CO. And then we're gonna have all this other stuff done by then, so it will be all signed off.
I don't think we need to, Mr. Chair, I don't think we need to do anything.
Well, you read my mind. I'm not sure what we're being asked to do then. If we haven't done the final walkthrough to say, Mr. Building Inspector, they've met our conditions and we're good. If we haven't even done that, I'm not sure what I'm putting in a letter.
Well, I
Why
think.
can't you just work with him on the temporary? What does Ben need from us? What has he told you he
Well,
needs?
there's a condition in there that you can't issue a certificate of occupancy until those things.
Which he's not. He's a temporary.
Well, I think he looks at it conservatively. If I can correspond to him and say, look, the board's position is you can issue a temporary, it's on you, or even a letter saying it's up to him, but you've determined you don't have jurisdiction on a temporary, that will be fine. But I think he's looking for something, and I think he's, playing it safe, and I don't blame him.
I mean, my opinion, Mr. Chair, is we don't have to worry about surety. We don't have to worry about, anything, because we're not saying that they've met our requirements.
Yeah, I mean, that.
Until they meet them, they don't, bottom line is if they don't meet them in 90 days, they can't get an occupancy, and then they're really in trouble.
Yeah, so what happens? You can't kick them out once they're already in, right?
Well, yeah, he
Yes,
gives
you
them
can.
notice. He gives them notice when they go in that they're on that. That's part of it.
That's at their risk.
That's his problem. But we're not. The
Can't
stuff
it just be a conversation between the chair and Ben? I mean, I agree. I don't know what we're issuing.
Well, what did we do with the bank? We just did one with Santander where they needed to get some people to get like furniture in and training
They were
before they
done.
really opened. But that was we issued a letter saying everything's good from our perspective, and at your discretion, you could entertain, issue a temporary CO.
It's been done.
But everything's not good here.
No, other letters have issued that have said it's not good, but you can issue a temporary, but we're not authorizing a final from our perspective until everything is completed and all our conditions are met. That's been the standard protocol for other projects.
But usually haven't we done at least a preliminary walkthrough or something?
I think Jim did, but I can't speak for him.
Oh,
No,
well, that was
I
gonna
haven't.
be my next.
We
Yeah,
haven't. Yeah.
yeah. I think we have to do at least a walkthrough so we can say, look, everything's done to our conditions except for A, B, and C. Land irrigation, whatever.
Well,
So,
so I did a drive-by. There's no irrigation and there's no sod.
Right.
The plants are there, but they're not all planted. So to me, they don't meet our conditions. So it'd be up to Ben to do whatever he wanted, and until they meet our conditions, we just would give a letter in the future that says, okay, they've met them, and then he can give a final, but
I
I
know
don't
we've done a
think
couple
we
of,
do anything here.
I know we've done a couple where they're not quite done and we write a letter that says they're not quite done. But if he's looking for us to say, at your discretion, you want to issue a temporary CO, that's at your discretion, and we'll do a final walkthrough before we recommend, you go to the final CO. I know we've done one or two of these. I could find.
So we've done, over on Foundry Street, we held units back.
Right.
There's always something that we're holding back.
Yeah.
With occupancy, but here they're not asking for occupancy, they're doing a temp.
Yeah.
So we have
I
the
can tell you this.
occupancy as the hammer.
So this is what you did on, this is not, I'm just
Harvard
saying,
Mills.
this is not abnormal. This is what's been done. So
We did it with Harvard Mills.
you did it with Harvard Mills because this is a letter that was sent.
But the fact there, we're telling them that we are allowing it, and that's always been a word that they don't like.
Well, at their
He likes
discretion.
that. He likes that. He doesn't want you to tell him he has to, because he might have building and safety code issues.
No, his predecessor was a little more prickly about that, but that's fine. We could do this again. And just at their
You're
discretion.
saying that everything hasn't been met, and
Yeah.
So you're putting that in writing, and we understand that. We agree.
Okay. Okay, I'm okay. I don't want to belabor it. That's fine. We've done it before. I had to refresh my memory and make sure that this was applicable here for these multifamilies. So we've done it before. We can do it
So I
again.
move that we allow Dave to correspond with the building inspector and issue this letter.
Second,
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? All right, regular voting members, Chip,
Yes.
Jim,
yes.
Tom,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay. So we'll follow up, Brian. We'll get it penned and allow things to move forward. But we do want to get that final walkthrough. So please reach out to us, through me. And if it's Jim or somebody else who's willing to take a walk through and just compare it to make sure it's when it is done. Because I noticed that the plants went in, same thing. And I was like, there's somebody watering it. Where's the irrigation? So whatever the remaining things are, when those are done, and you think you've met all the conditions, let's reach out and get that final walkthrough.
Yes.
That's what we do. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Chip, on that, if you do look at the plants or whatever, I'm by there 2-3 times a week to the T-ball fields. And the bushes look horrendous. They're tiny, there's no leaves. So they may already be dead or something, or not the size that was spec'd out or something. I mean, they don't even cover the foundation. And I can't imagine that getting past Chip when we actually did the.
Yeah, I will pull the plans and we'll
Yeah,
review it when they're ready.
The plantings look pretty bad.
So Anthony, that's kind of like a message as you, just to make sure that the landscaping is perfection with what the landscape plan required and everything is healthy before we go for final sign off.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. All right. All right, Brian. I
thank
think we're on that one. Okay, temp. CO, a letter, okay. All right, next. 23-18, 151 Broadway, Emmanuel 7 LLC to discuss minor modifications.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. Dagwin Fortuna is here with me. He's the architect on this project. This was a pretty simple finding for 151 Broadway. And I'm gonna bring up my screen. Refresh the board's memory on this. Just a two-family house. And this involved, I'm gonna go right to the elevations because what we're looking for is pretty straightforward. This involved the addition of dormers on the building and an addition out back. And this is probably the appropriate elevation to look at. And this is in the general residence district, 3 stories are allowed, so this was just a finding. The board actually made a finding on this that didn't even go to the second prong, just said it didn't intensify the existing non-conforming. And we're looking for minor modification because when they got into construction, they had an issue with the headroom up on the 3rd floor. So what I'm going to kind of go back and what happened was, if you look at the zoning table, was presented, it's not supposed to go higher than 30 feet. Okay, 35 is allowed in this district. And what was proposed or shown on the plan as far as the detail goes was 28.9. And in this, but the table said 30. Okay, but you can see, take note how the dormer coming out meets the peak of the roof. Okay, they had a problem doing that with the building code, so they have not brought the peak up to meet the dormer. So the way it currently stands now, the way it's been built, and it's not done, is that the dormer goes above the A-frame. So the A is down here and the dormer's above it. It doesn't look right. So they know they need to fix that, and that's what they're trying to do. Okay, so so that is at the 28.9. What we're asking is a minor modification consideration to do this. And I think just to go back, pay particular note, if you will, to the front of the house. So I think this part of this minor modification is a design change to this that I think actually enhances the building. So focus that there's kind of no trim and there's nothing, it's just all kind of plain going up. Okay. So what they're looking to do to match the dormers that have been put on is to go to 32, 8 7/8. Okay, so they want to raise this A to make it match, to bring it up. Still way under the allowed right. And what they're proposing to do is, in looking at the design of the building, they are proposing to change the fascia on this part to make it go up and to put shutters on. And there's a better elevation of this that kind of really highlights it. And to bring trim board around to really kind of dress it up and finish it. So now you've got shutters that will be put on the front of the house. You've got trim board that comes around, and you've got the bead board, if you will, going vertically versus the siding in this A-frame. You know, I think it actually looks better, but that's for you to decide. So,
Brian, can you
yeah.
pull up the image that's there now?
I can, Jim.
Photographic image?
Yep, I can. I've had discussions with Jim on this because as the liaison to the board. So,
But by the way, Brian,
yeah, go ahead.
I sent you a picture on your email. If you open it right now, it shows basically a front elevation of what's there. And
You did.
Yeah, you just open your email right now, and that's it right there.
Yeah, perfect.
By the way, my name is Darwin. I'm the project architect on the project.
Yeah. Okay. There it is. You guys see that?
Zoom in.
Oh, can you see it? I don't know if I'm you know what, I'm sharing on the wrong, my fault, sharing on the wrong platform. Hang on. Yeah, here it is. Coming. There it is.
Zoom in, Brian.
I'm trying. That better, Jim? That better?
Yeah,
Just look at it, at the house on the right versus their house.
Yeah, it's not right. This just isn't right, and that's what they want to fix.
But
But-
just so you know, Brian, just also, the house, the gray house on the right, the reach of the house and the reach of our dormers are, well, I mean, I didn't measure them, but they are compatible. They're meaning that by going with the A-frame up, those houses will relate a little bit more, and they will have a similar ridge height that the existing house did not have before.
Okay, I'm not sure I totally got that, but we're gonna
What he's
fix,
saying, Dave, is at the end of the day, this height and this height are compatible.
Exactly the point. Exactly that. Those are exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
all right, so this was already built and then we realized it was wrong. We didn't realize it while we were doing it. Is that what
Yeah.
you're contending?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So,
Amazing what contractors will do.
yeah. So one thing that was noticed is that the drawings, like if it was followed as per the drawings, it was not gonna be an inhabitable attic. You were just gonna hit your head with the height that it had. So there was a conflict between the design drawings and the construction drawings that were submitted for the permit. So at the end of the day, it was decided that, well, we should probably make it comply with the code. So the dormers were made comply with the code, but not the A-frame. They should have probably lifted it all together, but
yeah, and Ben, when Ben saw this, he put the brakes on it, as he should.
yeah, and we had a stop work order on the project for 2 months, I think. 2 months, nothing done.
To come back here and get this resolved.
I had come across this actually and photographed it and sent it on to Ben.
So,
But I think at the end of the day, I mean, is what's happening here. I think there's actually a benefit. I think the new design is nicer than what, that's my opinion, but for you to decide.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I agree. We need to fix it.
Fix it. Yeah,
And I think the vertical
this
board,
fixes it.
yeah, the vertical board and the trim board coming around. You know, really fit in the shutters, really finishes it up nice.
If you
There's a time to know when you've talked enough.
Okay,
So Brian, quick procedural question. You said, I think you said it was just a finding. What was it a finding on? Because you mentioned, is it just the height or is it the whole project? Because
it was
you
a whole,
mentioned
it was basically, it was the alteration of existing
oh.
nonconformity, yeah.
Okay, so the trim board and the new vertical piece and the shutters factor into it. Not
Yeah.
that it does change your mind, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, and do you have, is this a final plan that?
Yep, I'd have to send it to
Because
you, yep.
we haven't seen anything, so.
No, you get this. I will send this along if you approve it.
And what is this? Who did it and what's it dated?
There you go. It's done by Flow Design Architects.
Dated today?
6/14/23.
That's today.
Yep, and it's signed and stamped.
Thank goodness.
Okay. All right. Anything else, board members, on this one? All right, let's make it right. The other changes are de minimis in my mind, so I think a vote's in order. Chip, if you're ready. You're
I
willing?
move that we allow this minor modification as presented to us by Flow Design Architects dated 6/14/23 this evening.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Regular voting members, Chip,
Yes,
Joe,
Yes,
Jim,
Yes,
Tom,
Yes,
and I vote yes. Okay, it's unanimous. Let's make it
Thank you.
right.
Great.
All right. And get her done.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Um,
yeah, Dave, to your point, it's amazing they built that. Amazing.
we can do it right. 'cause we
I
do
just
it
wanted to
right.
hear him say it. Okay. Next other matter, final other matter. 22-67 and 68, 1 Hickory Hill Road, David H. Barrett requesting an extension.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's pretty straightforward. Mr. Barrett, if you may recall, at 1 Hickory Hill, he obtained a variance at a finding. It's a reconstruction of a 3-family that was granted back on July 13, 2022, and it was clocked in at the town clerk on August 10th. And we're requesting a 6-month extension for this, which will be a specific date of February 10, 2024, that to exercise the variance.
He's done nothing up there, Brian?
No, he's got tenant issues, Chip, that he's trying to deal with people appropriately. So,
Okay. Because sometimes, you know, if a tree gets cut, it started the project.
no, he's trying to be
Nothing.
respectful with his process.
Okay,
So 6 months would take us to February 10th, 2024, you said?
Correct.
Okay. Okay,
I move that we grant a 6-month extension on this project till February 10th, 2024.
Second,
any discussion on the motion? And it's the extension to exercise the,
Exercise.
yeah, the exercise, yes, just to be clear, as we write it up. Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Our regular voting members, Chip,
Yes,
Joe,
yes,
Jim,
yes,
Tom,
yes.
and I vote yes, so that's approved.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, anything else, Brian, that wasn't on our agenda that you had on your list?
Nope.
All right, thank you.
And thank you for the continuances. You know, I'd just like to say, Mr. Chair, I'm gonna, you know, I don't want to waste the board's time. I could have come back on a lot of those things with small pieces, but you know, I think the board prefers that we have big chunks to deal with rather than, you know, little things that don't accomplish a lot, and it results in a better meeting time, if you will. So if some of those aren't ready, I'll continue again at the next meeting. I've already told my clients we got to make progress to make it worthwhile to come back to the board.
Agreed.
And a lot of those projects are now at the point that we're dealing with the town engineer and they take time. So,
And we, Lieutenant Anderson from the TAC reached out and wanted to confirm. Brian, why don't we just touch on that before we wrap? Because he wanted to double check with us what was outstanding for any TAC feedback. So I had listed, Brian, let me find the email. I'm sure you're going to find it too. What the heck did I do with the email? That was just a couple of days ago.
yep.
Um,
Bill Renault responded.
Right, that's probably what I'm looking for, and I'm just not finding it. Oh, there it is. So he just wanted to know what, if we had anything outstanding, and I listed all the various projects that, you know, the multifamilies. And so, let's see, and Brian responded. So 369 to 371 Main already went to TAC. They will be issuing a memo.
Yep.
10 Broadway went to TAC. They'll be issuing a memo. The 314 to 336 Salem Street, same. 1 Autobahn said ZBA decided no TAC needed because small size and using the existing parking and traffic flow within the hotel. Just want to make sure, board members, we did agree to that, right? Or do we think we need the TAC to look at something here?
which one was this, Dave?
I Fly, 1 Autobahn.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
no,
No
Okay.
TAC, yeah.
Oh, okay, just wanted to double check. And then 460 to 466 and 72, the Molise building. That still needs to go, and I think, Brian,
Yeah.
you have to get on their schedule, right?
That's
So-
going on the 23rd to the TAC. Yep.
Okay, perfect. And then 3 Melvin, same thing. Again, given the expansion of the warehouse and, you know, I think we just decided no TAC needed there as well, right?
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Did I miss any? I think
No.
those are the main ones that were outstanding. So it's really just
That's
the Main Street one. That's outstanding, and we do need memos from them, so we will
do.
track the memos that we need. But
And
in terms of-
I've got some things, you know, what the TAC did on Broadway and on Salem. They wanted, you know, there were a couple things to finalize, but they delegated Bill Renault and Matt Keeley to work with us offline on those. And then once we've done that, they'll issue a final memo. So because on Broadway, as you know, we've committed to some mitigation there that we're working out the details on what we're going to do. Okay. But
All right,
you do
sounds
need
good.
memos.
Yep, and I just appreciate the feedback. We just cover that. I'm going to make sure we're all on the same page. So
Yeah, thanks for
you.
doing that. Appreciate it.
All right. All right. Thanks, Brian. All right, board members, item 5, clerk and board comments. Anything to bring up tonight?
I have nothing to say.
Hey, Jim, did you see they put temporary signage on the Melise building? Did you see that? You got anyone see that? They put a big
I
sign
saw it.
on there.
I think the town council directed them to.
Hey, is that, yeah,
But
Yeah,
somebody was
Whether
coming-
proper process or not, I think the town council has been beating them up to,
Well, they didn't like the big X's on it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think those are still there, but,
Well, I think those have to be there.
yeah, for the fire department.
And I can clarify if I could, because I was involved in that Greg's right, the town council and the town administrator wanted that there, in particular with the 4th of July parade. To make sure there was a message to people visiting our community that this isn't how our downtown is. There's actually a project pending here.
No, I did say, potential, what does it say? Potential retail space available, I think, right? Something like
It
that.
says future, it says,
Future, yeah.
it says, I'll show you what it is. I got it right here.
They actually wanted to put some sort of scrim that looked like the building across the facade.
That would have been great.
Yeah, I was expecting something that they did like they do in the city where it looks like it's a whole scrim with this is what's not this is what, but you know, this is
Right.
That's
another building.
Yeah, that.
And then that's what we got, but whatever.
that's what they wanted.
They did in the matching colors of the hardware of Hart's Hardware.
So
All right.
if you think there's a violation, you can call Mr. Mayo.
All right.
The other thing, Dave,
Yep.
did you ever respond to that email about the bylaw review committee? They're doing subcommittees, so I mean, you don't have to be on it, obviously, but they're trying to get the chairman of this board and maybe me, I think I'm on it anyways, and who else?
Planning board and
Planning
I did
board,
see
yeah.
the notes. Yeah, they're in my queue to contemplate here, but yeah, thanks for reminding me to bring it up.
All right.
Yeah, I'd be happy to delegate if somebody else wanted to join Joe in this endeavor.
We're not, the bylaw review committee, we're not meeting until January, September again, but I think they're gonna try to do a subcommittee. The last meeting we had 2 weeks ago was on a table use and definitions, and there's a couple, the definitions, I don't think we're gonna talk about, but there's a couple spots that need updating in the table, you know, a couple blanks that they wanna, you know, update.
I think we should all contemplate it for the next month or two and figure out if anybody wants to spend time with Joe.
Well, they said they're looking for chairs of the bylaw review committee, planning board, ZBA, or their designees, and allow for 2 additional members. That this would be either individuals who are members of both of them or have a particular interest. It doesn't say members of the public, so they're looking for members of these boards to just work as a subcommittee and work through this stuff. Doesn't mean we wouldn't see the material and could comment on it. But these are things that are gonna, Joe, what's the timing? This is like working over the summer, right? Couple meetings a month or something?
Like I said, the next real meeting with Bobrovsky is in September. They're looking to put, I think Dan's looking to see what people's schedules like and put something together. Maybe
Several
over the
times over
summer.
the summer months, yeah.
Several, but I don't think several. Once, maybe twice. I don't know, but everyone, I mean, it's like you said, it's summertime, so you have to get everyone and it's gonna be posted, it's gotta, you know, it's gotta be available to the public, so.
All right, so think about
I
it.
haven't
board
heard
members,
anything
and
further.
if you want to jump in and work with Joe, I'm willing and happy to defer and designate on this one.
I'll begrudgingly remove my name from consideration as the subcommittee I am on is not taking a break over the summer.
Okay. We'll grant you a pass on that one. All right, well, think about it. We'll circle back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll let them know, but thanks, Joe.
Soon enough, we'll all be on subcommittees.
Ah,
Anything else?
I have a question. When do we do elections?
July meeting.
July
July
meeting? Okay,
July
so
12th.
I wasn't sure if it was the next June meeting or July 12th. Okay,
Right, Gail, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's usually July. Yeah,
Mhm.
July, okay.
and that's July 12th. And just to clarify, as long as we're talking about summer, August 9th is the meeting?
I believe so. Let
Well,
me,
Gail, when are you on vacation?
I'm not this year. I didn't bail out. I'll be here.
Is it the 9th or the 16th? Let's see.
You know,
Just
I
so
thought we
everyone's
did
got,
it the 16th
I-
to get
Hmm.
closer to like equal.
I'm not sure. It's posted online. I'll have to go online and look. I'm thinking it's the 16th for some reason, or the 9th rather, but I have to check.
I've got this, I've got the 16th
I
on
got
mine.
Do you?
16, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I have it in my calendar.
Okay,
all right, well, everyone adjust your calendars to the 16th. Gail will reconfirm, but at least the July
Yeah.
one is a little closer just for your planning purposes. That's the 12th. And that's when, yes, there will be elections and there will be new people considered and nominated. I
Just,
can guarantee it.
We have to
Voting, voting,
pass on that laser.
voting members only, right? Didn't we confirm that a while ago?
Yeah, unfortunately. Greg, you want to just confirm that?
Just, I will mention that at that meeting too.
All right, any other topics, board members? Any other input? Okay.
Meeting minutes.
Item 6, approval of minutes. Oh, yes, I was getting there. Approval of minutes of May 24th.
I move that we approve the May 24th minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, bye.
Motion- That's not a motion.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? Are you sure? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
We
right,
did
thank
it
you.
before 9 o'clock. Nice job, guys. I don't think the next one's going to be quite as quick.
No,
It may not be. They may
Yeah.
not be, but we'll see. Maybe a few of them will get continued again if they're not ready, but we'll see where they are. All right, this meeting is
Yeah.
adjourned. Thank
See you,
you.
folks.
Have a good night.
thank
good
you.
night.
Everybody have a great 4th.
Yes. Oh, no, we're gonna meet
Not
before the
quite.
4th.
I tried. I tried.
Good try.
Yeah.
Good night.